do that with our children. In order to unpack all these concepts, these micro concepts, we need to have the toolkit, just the basic toolkit of
Yeah.
the confidence in talking about money.
Bridget, what we've seen at NMG Benefits is that when we have a team that literally go and they only coach and teach on how to have a budget and how to maintain a budget and how to manage a budget, and also the concept of debt and stuff like that. So I think the first thing is that if an individual as a parent want to teach to their children, they need to lead by example. And they need to first understand that. And if they don't know how to do it, get some help. So that's step number one. And once they do that, what we've seen is you break down the concept then where you start talking to children about age-appropriate budgeting. One of the examples is you have three buckets, like a traffic light, a red, an amber, and a green, and you say your red is the money that you have to save, and say, okay, this is danger money or an emergency fund, where some people do that. The amber is money that you have to give away, maybe to a charity or to your church, and the green is the money that you spend. So that's an easy concept for a 7-year-old that you can start with to help them understand the concept of money, and that you don't just take money and it's a funnel just to spend everything and give it away.
Yeah. In fact, research from Cambridge University actually shows that by the age of 7, children have already formed many of their financial behaviors that they carry into adulthood.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that's where the money habits that shape people and children come into play, where you start teaching children on a day-to-day basis on how to eat, going to a grocery store and telling them, okay, you know what, this you buy different soaps, but the one is more expensive than the other ones. Why would you choose the one before the other? And also the value of one bottle might be bigger than the other one, and yes, you might pay more, but it's more value for money. So things like that is very important to teach to our children.
It's so interesting that you bring up this example about grocery shopping, right? Because I think if you make observations 9 times out of 10 at a grocery store, when parents are shopping with their children, there's very little conversation about what's happening. The process of grocery shopping. They could be conversating about everything else except what we are doing in that moment. And I recall being at a till at my local Checkers, and you have the loyalty card. And there was 2 siblings, probably no older than 10. And the little one, you could tell, was in lower primary. And they were behind me at the till point, spending their money buying chocolates. And I heard one ask the other to say, wait, why does it say 3 for X amount? And then their mom was explaining that, well, if you buy 3, then it works out cheaper, but you need to have the card. And then it started a whole conversation with their mother about, do you have the card? And she happened to have not had the card with her, but I had one. So the littlest one then, tapped me on the shoulder and was, Auntie, do you mind if we borrow your card so that we can get the special? And I thought, what a wonderful teaching moment, because they both had chocolates in their hands. They were both getting ready to buy with their own individual pocket money. I saw they both were carrying money in their hands. And then they spotted those orange signs with the special, paused to cause and ask. And then they made it an informed decision to buy 3 versus buying 1 individually.
Sure, that's very special. And Bridget, I think that to your point, sometimes we as parents, we just give pocket money. And what we've did for with our kids, and this is actually a sanity saver in our household, because when we got to the grocery store, the kids were always like, but can I have this? Can I have this? Can I buy this? You always have to fend for your wickets. And we got to a place where we just said, you know what? Your tax shop money, if you want to go to the shops, we're going to give you money for pocket money. And whenever you want to go to the shops, you can buy whatever you want to buy. And it's interesting how my kids have evolved differently. The one is more a giver. She likes giving. My son, he likes saving. So he's taken that and actually saved some of that money. And we've gone to when kids get to high school and not just primary school, what you can do is you can even give them the full range of their pocket money. We're at the play our children receive their school their money for school, for tuition, and their clothing and everything that they need to buy. In high school, we started giving that to them, and now they have to make it work. And if they can't buy shoes every month and they can't buy this, they have to save up and be appropriate to what they want to buy in that moment.
I mean, valuable lessons there, because as you say, it's teaching the value of earning.
Yes. And to that as well is, I think we need to get to a place. The schools are doing great work trying to have this entrepreneurial days where they teach children about money. But truth be told, what happens a lot of times, the parents go and do the stuff and the kids just go and sell it. They don't understand the concept of cost and purchasing something and then just making a profit. You get all the money. And it's important that we start teaching our children those wheel and deal skills as well, is saying, okay, what can you do? Because my son came to me once and he said, no, he wants a car. I said, you can have a car, just buy it yourself. And now he bought an old scrap car, took the scrap parts and started selling it off, made a bit of profit out of it. And now he's going to university. He's buying his own car with his own money that he wheeled and dealed with. And that's an empowerment skill, and not just a skill of knowing what to do money, but how to actually earn money as an entrepreneur. And I think in South Africa, we need entrepreneurs and we need to teach our children those skills.
Speaking of, those wheeling and dealing skills, the concept of earning money, at sort of what stages? I mean, you spoke about the bucketing system, which is a great introduction to savings and responsibility, and age appropriate as well. And then at sort of as you get older, perhaps what other systems can parents introduce? I'm thinking about there are parents, for instance, who give pocket money or who like the monthly allowance. Is it also a good thing to say perhaps you have a base allowance? I don't know what allowances are these days. Perhaps you have a base allowance of 200 or 300 Rand a month, but if you want to earn more, then outside of your normal responsibilities at home, if you do something a little bit extra, then we can equate that to what the monetary rate is. Maybe if you decide to wash mommy's car, instead of mommy taking it to the car wash, I'll give you that 100 Rand or that whatever the car wash cost is, whatever the trade is.
Absolutely. And Bridget, but there's a word of caution here, because we need to teach our children that they are part of the household.
Our line just went weird and frosty there. Let's try again. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, let's try again.
Okay. So what I said, it's a word of caution is that our children, there's certain household chores that you say, washing dishes, that's part of your chores. You're not going to be paid for it.
Yes.
That's part of being in the household. But like what you say, because the thing that we want to do is create an outside economy coming into our household. So if we are in a position where we go to the children and say, you know what, I'm going to pay 120 Rand to wash the car, but you can do it. If you want to do it, you can do it for 100 Rand. Then we're keeping that money inside of the system. And I think that's a great skill to teach our children, but then also to go and say, don't just look to mom and dad for an income. Let's go and see what else you can do. Maybe waitering or packing groceries or going to your neighbors and say, can I mow your lawn, or can I pull out some weeds and things like that. So that we teach our children, yes, and we can save money by utilizing our internal skills, but we can also go to outside economies and bring money into our household. And I think that's a massive empowering skill.
What do you say, Stian, to folks who maybe might challenge that idea and say, I work hard. I work hard at my job to give my children a good life, a soft life, and I don't want them going out there to get odd jobs and being a waitress, and I can provide for them whatever they need, they ask from me. How do you get sort of that thinking to also align with the thinking of, well, you're trying to raise a young person that's financially savvy, financially conscious, independent, and has the ability to also go out there and as you say, fend for your own wickets?
Bridget, what I've seen in my experience dealing with individuals and their finances, the parents that empower their children and say, let's help you and learn a skill. And unfortunately, if you look back in your lifetime, and I've asked this question to so many people, and you say, when did you learn the most amount of stuff, and when did you grow? You don't grow through good times, you grow through hard times. So we have to create a safe, hard time environment for our children where they can fail, we can pick them up, and we can use that as a teaching moment. That because the life out there is hard, and you're not going to get a golden star in your forehead just for pitching up and doing something. And unfortunately, what we see is the children that are empowered and they have this cushion life, and very few of them make it out in the real world. So we have to create that teaching moment where children are taught through hardship and building up the resilience to be able to fend off when there's rejection. Those are life skills we need to teach our children. They can't just go and say, okay, we're going to give them a cushy job one day, because that's not how the reality of life, unfortunately.
Absolutely. So if we had to begin today with some concepts, it's January, we're setting new intentions on January the 18th, maybe to a family that is already giving pocket money and allowances, but there's no real sort of structure to a financial lesson, or just learning how to navigate money. What would be your first 3 steps?
The step is I would have a family meeting and sit with the children and have a concept. And there's a lot of material in it. We can supply them, but there's a lot where you just say, okay, give me a basic outline of a budget. And then go and take those concepts of a budget to your children and say, okay, how are we going to structure your money? I think it's important that we teach our children that they should also give, whether it's to a charity or church or something, doesn't matter, but we need to give a portion of our money and have an open hand. So those concepts need to be built into our budget. My children know that if they do not give money away, they don't get next month's pocket money.
Oh.
So that's very important. That's step number 1 to me, would be have a meeting, take those concepts and say, okay, this is the budget. And then go and say, okay, are you happy with the income you receive? No, I'm not, or yes, I am. Okay, if I'm not happy, and you say, okay, what else do you want to buy? And don't just give them everything. Go and say, leave a bit of a stretch margin where they say, okay, so you have a dream, you want to do something. Okay, how are you going to do it? What else are you going to do to earn extra income so that you want to buy that pair of sneakers or whatever, you want to buy a new tennis racket for your tennis or whatever. Okay, we're not going to buy it for you because that's not part of our budget. And I think this is also important. Parents should never say to their children, we cannot afford it. They should say, it's not in our budget at this stage. That children understand it's not a mindset of poverty.
Okay.
It's a mindset of self-discipline.
Oh, that's an important point. It's not a mindset of poverty, but it's a mindset of self-discipline.
Yes, and I think if you have those 3 concepts as a start, it'll go a long way. And then you can say to your children, okay, what are you going to do to create extra income for yourself, and how can we help you? And you grow it from there.
I think what you speak about around budgets and also kids understanding that it's more of a self-discipline thing. We just got a message, anonymous not anonymous, but they just didn't share their name, saying kids and budgets, show them the family household budgets and let them see how they will have to dole out their adult incomes one day for essentials before they can spoil themselves. Reality is always the best teacher. I guess that's the other thing as well. If we're going to say to the kids that it's not in our budget right now to buy those sneakers, they probably have to have an understanding of the household budget to some degree.
Yeah, I think there's danger in that, in the sense that
Stian? Oh, we've lost Stian there for a second, but hello? I think we're just having a network connection situation because we are connected via WhatsApp, but we'll leave it there.
Yes.
Oh, you're back. Okay, yes. You were saying you think that there is a danger in that.
Yes, Bridget, because you might have let's say you earn 200,000 rand as a family. I'm just using an exorbitant amount. And then your children might think, okay, we're very rich and we can spend money on all of other stuff. And my son is at a place now where we are talking about budgets. He's in university, and he's like, okay. And then he said, no, but I can make ends meet and I can move out of the house. I said, okay, let's start. And we started talking about the budgets. And I didn't even talk about all our budgets, just what he wanted to do. And he realized how expensive life is. So keeping that in line, yes, you might say, okay, our budget for food is this, but sharing the complete budget sometimes gives children a warped sense of reality.
I see. Well, we'll leave it on that talking point for now, but we appreciate the time and, of course, all the tips that you've given to parents out there. That was Stian de Wit, Executive Head of Financial Planning at Advisory firm NMG Benefits. It's just gone